Hello, Bulldogs. This is a quick tutorial of what we talked about in class. I'm just going to kind of go over them again. In case you need help, you can click on this little tutorial. If you want to, watch them step by step. To start with, in this little program, up here on the top left is the toolbar. To run down the tools, you have the cursor, which is basically the pointer or arrow in other programs that we've used. You got the paintbrush, you got the pencil, you have the eraser tool, the shape tool of the rectangle, and the ellipse, a line tool, a path cursor tool if you're creating a path, text tool for typing out things, a paint bucket, and a dropper tool. You also have the fill color and the stroke color if you wanted to change those on any object you create. This is called the stage, and down here at the bottom you have what is called the timeline. Notice that the timeline is separated into not seconds, but individual frames. Frame 1, frame 2, frame 3, frame 4, frame 5, and layers, much like in Photoshop and other programs that we've used, like Gravit. Okay, pretty much every program we've used, I guess, now that you think about it, had layers. Over here, they call this the inspector panel, right over here to the top right. When you create something and click on it, it shows you all the properties for that. I'll do that right now. We're going to take a circle, and we're going to make our our fill color yellow, and our stroke color red. You can also change the width of the stroke. Okay, there's a little slider here. I'm going to make it about, I don't know, let's make it 5. And then we're going to come in there and just draw a circle. Okay, so notice when I drew that circle, it filled in frame 1. That's because we now have something drawn on frame 1. I'm going to stretch out frame 1 to about 10 frames. And notice that that just means that that ball is going to be on the timeline for 10 frames, and then it disappears. Okay, let's make that thing do something, though. If we wanted to, we could just click on frame 2 and move it a little bit, and so forth. We could add frames individually, but instead what we're going to do is what is known as a tween. Let me kind of demonstrate what I was talking about. Let's say this is frame 1, where our ball is. If we just copied that frame by clicking on it and clicking copy, and clicking on the next frame and clicking paste, okay, we'd actually move this over a little bit, and as you can see, we now have animation. But if we did that, that's going to take forever because we'd have to move it a little bit each time. Okay, instead what we're going to do is something known as a tween. And this is what a tween is. I'm going to stretch out this to about frame 10. And I'm going to click on the tween button, which is located right above all the layers. And notice that that turns into a dotted line, basically saying, okay, where do you want this ball to go? So now we move this to the end of the little frames that we selected and move the ball across the page. And now, as you can see, it filled in the difference. And this is the basics of animation, okay? Rather than us having to frame by frame animate, the computer has figured out what we want it to happen between the 2 frames. And maybe we didn't want it to do right there. Well, we could actually click in the middle and insert a frame and move this up. You can just basically do anything. So if you think about it, you don't necessarily have to be a fantastic artist, okay? If someone went ahead and drew the character, you could make it move across the screen. Okay, so that's kind of the way to think about animation. The next one we're going to do, we're going to add another one. And this time, rather than putting our frame right here, we're going to put it right at the end. I'm going to click on the rectangle. Let's change the fill color just for practice. And I'm going to come down here and draw a rectangle. Oops, my fill didn't change. Well, we'll do that next time. I'm going to stretch out about 10 frames again. And this time what I'm going to do is what is known as the zoom. Okay, so it's done the same way. We're going to go ahead and click on the tween. We're going to move our playhead to the end, and then we're going to click on our rectangle and make it zoom out. And now if we rewind it, we have the zoom effect. And you may ask yourself, well, why didn't you just put it right here? Because if I did that, notice what happens. Now my animations are on top of each other. And I don't want that, so that's the reason I didn't do that. So let's add another one. This next one is called the fade effect. Okay, so for this one, I'm going to click on the circle tool, change my fill color to red. I'm going to draw a big circle right here. And we're going to make this fade. We're just going to drag out some clips. Let's do about another 10. We're going to click on the tween button. We'll move this to the end again. And for this one, we're going to click on the object and turn the opacity down to 0 so it disappears. For this one, there's a little bit of a bug. You have to make sure that you click on the stage right after you do it. Click. And then you should have a fade effect. Notice my cool fade. So now we have a motion tween, a zoom effect, and a fade effect. Okay, let's add another one. This one is called the rainbow. For this one, all you do is you type in a word. I'm going to type in something nice and short. Let's just go cow. If you want to change your text, you just have to click on it. You can change the font. You can change the font size. Pretty much anything you can imagine. I'm going to change the font size to about 100. Okay, and for the rainbow effect, I'm just going to center this. And I'm going to come down here and copy and paste this frame. So I'm going to copy it, move to the frame next door, and paste it. Now all I do is click on it and change the color. And then I'm going to click on it again. I'm going to copy it, move to the next one, paste it, click on it, and change the color. Okay, so now if I rewind, I'm getting kind of a rainbow effect. If I want to highlight all these, I can go copy now, move over one, and paste. And I'm going to paste again, and again, and again. And so now if I play it, I have my motion tween, my zoom, my fade, and my rainbow. Okay, last one. The last one is called animating an object. Okay, what we're moving into is being able to animate something other than just shapes. So I'm going to go import an object. To do that, I go to my asset library. There's actually two things. They have a few built-in ones, built-in little things that you can kind of mess around with. But I'm not going to use those right now. I'm going to import my own. So I'm going to click on the upload assets. Let's go to my folder, and I'm going to import this little running bulldog. I'm going to click open, and notice that he's now in the library. So I'm just going to click on the frame where I want him to start and drag him onto the stage. Notice that he's a little big, so I will shrink him down. And also you can scroll out if you need to see your screen a little bit better. Okay, I'm going to put him right here at the beginning, and let's just motion tween him across the page. Okay, so we know how to do that now. I just stretch it out, same way you did the ball. Click on the tween button, move this to the end, and then move your bulldog to the end. And then play your entire magnificent animated short film. Notice that we have 5: motion, zoom, fade, rainbow, and a motion object move. Okay, you're going to do 2 of each of these. And once you're finished, you're going to export it as a GIF. The way you export it as a GIF is you come up here and click on export, and you make sure you choose export as a GIF. And once it exports to the bottom left-hand corner, you drag it onto the desktop and turn it in. That is it.